On the night of June 12, 1963, just after midnight, a quiet neighborhood in Jackson, Mississippi was shaken by a single gunshot. The target was Medgar Evers, a 37-year-old civil rights activist, husband, and father of three. He wasn't a national politician or a world-famous figure like a president, but in the Deep South, he was one of the most dangerous men to the forces of segregation because he dared to fight for freedom. Medgar Evers was born in Decatur, Mississippi in 1925. He grew up in the shadow of Jim Crow laws, surrounded by a society built on racial injustice. During World War II, he served his country with honor, even while being denied basic rights at home. After returning from the war, he earned a college degree and dedicated himself to the fight for civil rights. By the mid-1950s, he was appointed as the NAACP's first field secretary in Mississippi. The role was dangerous, but Evers accepted it without hesitation. He became a powerful symbol of resistance. He helped challenge the segregation of the University of Mississippi and exposed brutal racial injustices, including the murder of Emmett Till. But his activism placed him directly in the crosshairs of white supremacists. On the evening of June 11, 1963, President John F. Kennedy addressed the nation, declaring civil rights a moral issue. Just hours later, in Jackson, Mississippi, Medgar Evers returned home from a late NAACP meeting. He stepped out of his car carrying T-shirts that read, "Jim Crow must go." From a hidden spot nearby, a gunman fired a single shot. The bullet struck him in the back and pierced his heart. His wife, Myrlie Evers, and their children rushed outside and witnessed the horror unfolding in their own driveway. Evers was rushed to a local hospital but was initially denied entry because it was segregated. Only after it was made clear that he was dying was he admitted. Within an hour, he was pronounced dead. The shooter was identified as Byron de la Beckwith, a known white supremacist and member of the Ku Klux Klan. Despite overwhelming evidence, two all-white juries failed to convict him in the 1960s. Justice would not come until 1994, when Beckwith was finally convicted of the murder and sentenced to life in prison, more than 3 decades after the crime. The assassination of Medgar Evers shocked the nation. His funeral in Jackson drew thousands, and he was buried with full military honors at Arlington National Cemetery. His death was not in vain. It revealed the deep resistance to change in the South, but it also strengthened the civil rights movement. Only weeks later, the March on Washington brought more than 250,000 people together to demand equality, carrying the memory and spirit of Medgar Evers with them. He was an ordinary man who became extraordinary by refusing to stay silent. His murder showed the true cost of freedom and the courage required to demand it.